The discussion around sustainability started in the last half of the 20th century, where, in post war conditions, people were concerned with ideas of peace, freedom, development, and the environment. Later, the focus was based on human rights and the rights of women and the indigenous people. It was only in the past 40 years that the environment became a key focus issue. In the 1980s, the Brundtland Commission began its work of uniting the environment and development as one. It argued that the environment is where we live and development is what we do, and in order to improve human conditions, the two are inseparable. Later, some clarity was brought by the US International Academy to help define sustainable development by shifting the focus to what should be sustained and what should be developed. What should be sustained is based more on nature and resources, as well as human knowledge and interaction, and what is to be developed is based on people, economy, and society, and more recently, emphasis on values, goals, education, equity, and opportunity. Although these definitions have been split into what is to be sustained and what is to be developed, the distinction is blurred between them. There exists no clear definition of sustainable development, although a few things have become clear. We have shifted through three mindsets of sustainability, from economic to social to a more natural based, and now finally a more mixed, diverse, and evolving view of all three. We can assess our progress in sustainable development based on our goals, values, and practice. Lastly, we have learned that the highest social impact over the shortest time happens in more informal interventions, and as the process of development grows more formal, so does the need for technology, resources, and legitimacy, as well as collaboration.
A slum, squatter, or informal housing settlement can be seen as urban assemblages that operate outside the formal control of state. They can be identified by the main challenges faced by lower income urban dwellers, such as land, housing, and infrastructure and amenities. Land can be seen as high risk marginal land, formally unsuitable for development and prone to hazards, as well as no secure land tenure for housing. Housing of poor structural quality and overcrowding, and infrastructure and amenities, as they are officially seen as illegal, extra-legal, or squatter, and are thus excluded from government provisions in terms of water, sanitation, transport, and childcare.
The definition of sustainable development means the ability to make development sustainable to ensure that it meets the needs of the present without compromising the ability of future generations to meet their own needs. There are mainly three pillars of sustainable development. They are social, economical, and environmental development.
Technical solutions are no longer solved in isolation, but is adapted to fall under the umbrella of appropriate technologies, which focuses around dwellers meeting their own needs, awakening a livelihood in residents, and security from crime. The system invented by Usina is focused around community participation, affordability, flexible processes of delivery, and systems of good governance and accountability. In order to make these projects work, grants, subsidies, and loans are sourced, residents contribute their labor, and materials are locally sourced.
Means of mapping by using the harvest mapping method. It's an ethical enterprise method of achieving sustainable construction by mapping and researching the area surrounding a proposed development. The aim is to capture available local resources. The goal of this is to identify the location of available resources, and audiences would be local manufacturers, skilled workmanships, and local construction material stores, to name a few.
Technical solutions need to stimulate physical improvements rooted in human, social, and economic sustainability, which requires flexible systems and processes, delivery and management, as well as adaptation over time.
Incremental construction in the informal settlement typology, where access of housing is placed in focus. Suitable shelter is a basic need. After all government's efforts, this still cannot be achieved for lower income individuals. The reasons are unequal income, increasing cost of living and land, An inability to secure loans prevent lower income individuals to build homes with access to necessary services and living conditions. Incremental construction. Shift in perception about housing factors. The stigma of the sector needs to be overcome first for change to take effect. The causes of the stigma is failure to meet construction requirements, a lack of secure land tenure and construction permit. Houses are constructed on illegal land or land not zoned for housing requirements. In the informal settlement, we're focusing on entrepreneurial flexibility, where entrepreneurship comes from many years of trial and error, as business has been done in this way for many years. It may seem as a random and chaotic way of doing business, but it's usually technically informed of what is needed in that time frame. It works on the supply and demand strategy, and flexibility usually depends on what's now in supply gets demanded now.